3 Atlas has supposedly shed 99% of its mass, and by standard physics, that shouldn't happen. In under 3 months, this interstellar passerby went from a 33 trillion kilogram heavyweight to a 260 billion kilogram wraith. 32 trillion tons appear to have slipped into nothingness. No blast, no rebel trail. It's a numerical paradox, hinting the body isn't what it appears to be. I can't shake the sense we're staring at a bug in our cosmic worldview. To jettison nearly all your mass, quietly, without ripping apart, is not comet-like. It makes me ask whether 3I Atlas could be a hollow hull, an artifact, or a radiative sail tuning its own mass to area. NASA is chasing natural explanations, yet a gap this extreme is unprecedented. Today, we trace the missing trillions and ask what truly sits at the core of 3 Atlas. From May through September, 3I Atlas became the sky's most scrutinized target. Over 230 observatories worldwide kept it in their sights, measuring with absurd fidelity, about 0.028 arcseconds. In human terms, that's like picking out a coin on a sidewalk from 100 kilometers away. And over those months, a very specific thing occurred. Nothing. No jitter, no quirky accelerations, no outgassing kicks. Just a hushed, massive presence drifting. In orbital mechanics, quiet carries information. If sunlight pressure and possible venting can't budge an object, even the tiniest bit, it must be extraordinarily inertial, i.e. heavy. A.V. Loeb and other groups ran the math on that stillness and inferred a brute, at least 5 kilometers across, about 3.3 times 10 to the 13 kilograms, an interstellar ice mountain. We treated that inference as rock solid. We were certain. We weighed the giant and believed our number, but maybe that certainty was step 1 toward error. We assumed quiet and heft meant a typical star-forged rock. Months of tracking showed no jet-driven rocket effect as perihelion neared. Our sensitivity then was 300 times tighter than what we're working with now. If there had been even a faint thrust, we should have caught it. We built models on that hush. We embraced the giant. Then, sliding inward, it began breaking our projections, almost as if it started to shed its own reality. This isn't a 99% oops in a crowded dataset. With hundreds of instruments watching, a miss that large implies the summer target wasn't the same as the winter one. Some say the jets were masked or lopsided. Others counter, perhaps the mass was never there, or the object held itself quiet until a particular waypoint. Eerie thought, did we see a 5-kilometer colossus because it intended to present as one? As solar heating climbed, the facade seems to have slipped, and with it, our assumptions.
In December, JWST finally pinned down a non-gravitational nudge, a tiny daily change, roughly 13 kilometers per day added velocity. That faint whisper, fed into dynamical models, pulled the floor out. To get that specific push from escaping gas, 3 Atlas could no longer be 5 kilometers wide. The fit demanded 1 kilometer, dropping the mass from 33 trillion kilograms to 2.6 times 10 to the 11 kilograms, a 120-fold swing. It feels like a typo. Imagine thinking you'd been trailing a blue whale, then realizing it's closer to a goldfish. The logic behind the shrink is brutally straightforward. JWST measured gas leaving it roughly 1,600 kilometers per hour, with mass loss near 150 kilograms per second. Multiply flow speed by mass rate to get thrust, divide by mass to match the observed acceleration. To hit today's acceleration with that thrust, the body must be light, small. The arithmetic is ruthless. We're forced to accept a 3I Atlas about 99% less than the Titan we thought we knew 90 days prior. If it was always that feathery, solar pressure should have wafted it months ago, yet the summer tracks showed no such drift. Losing 99% without a plume or fragments is like watching a skyscraper fade while you stare at it.
Labeling it fluffy saves the spreadsheet, but strains credulity. In the vacuum, 3I Atlas looks less like a monolith and more like something molting. It arrived as a bulk and is departing as a specter, apparently discarding tens of trillions of tons on the way out. Some investigators now wonder if we've been forcing a natural story onto an unnatural signal. If those trillions never truly existed, the paradox vanishes. This is where thinkers like Avi Loeb urge a wider lens. Perhaps the 5-kilometer mass was an illusion. What if it's a thin, hollow construct, a high area-to-mass shell that rides stellar radiation like a sail? Far away, it mimics a heavyweight. In sunlight's furnace, it behaves like a feather. As a concept, an interstellar probe wearing a comet's mask is unsettling, but it neatly resolves the vanishing mass conundrum. In that frame, nothing disappeared. We misweighed it because we assumed rock. Competing teams prefer a fragile, ultra-porous comet with hidden vents, yet this visitor's motion reads to some eyes less like accident and more like intent. Camouflage, drift is ice, then trim trajectory using the host star. If 3 Atlas is engineered, it entered as a dense, quiet observer, enlightened before exit. We're like ancient mariners explaining a modern ship, calling a moving island a miracle of winds. Our models falter because they limit the dark to rock or gas. 3 Atlas teases a third category, a ghost in the solar machine, refusing to be weighed by our rules. Whether moribund comet or hollow scout, it leaves a 32 trillion ton-sized gap in our understanding, and with outbound speed rising, we may never peek inside. We're left with a split screen, the summer's mute colossus versus the winter's weightless phantom. Maybe our math chains miss something, or maybe our notion of rock in interstellar night is naive. The unnerving possibility, we hosted something truly anomalous and kept jamming it into a box built for snowballs and stones. Machine or brittle snowball shedding its core, 3I Atlas has carved a scar in our physics that won't heal quickly. The void's hush isn't emptiness, it's where our rules bend. Thanks for joining me at the heart of the puzzle. If the saga of 3I Atlas and the missing trillions has you lingering under the stars tonight, please consider a like and a subscribe. It keeps the lights on while we keep chasing the unknown. If you'd like to fuel deeper dives, you can become a channel member. We're all adrift together, trying to read the ghosts in the machine. Until the next outsider crosses the dark, stay curious and keep watching the void.